Okay, it's recording. Hello, everybody. My name is Derek, and I am the founder of Sigma School. And in Sigma School, our vision is simple. We want people to know that there is an alternative to the traditional university education. We believe that teachers or educational institutions should be held accountable, should be held responsible for landing their students' jobs. So the way we do it is and we have our approach to it in coding education. But today, we have a very special guest with us today. His name is Saufi. He's one of the rarer ones because most of our audiences we get is usually in cloud, data science, web technology, software. It's mostly software, but Saufi comes from a background in hydrogen technology, and I think he's doing some stuff with space technology as well, which is very interesting and very rare in Malaysia, to be honest. So I think, even though this isn't software, I think it would definitely benefit the viewers today to understand what Saufi is doing, how is he, and he's also a guy in business as well, which makes it even more interesting. So today's session is to learn a bit from Saufi, and let's do a Q&A just to learn more about this technology and to see how we can equip ourselves with the skill sets of the future. Right. So Saufi, without further ado, feel free to take over the stage. I'm going to mute myself now.
All right. Thank you very much, Derek. So I know Derek for a couple of months ago. From not from Malaysia itself, but coming from Silicon Valley, from Stanford University. Our friends basically come here, and then we meet up, and then we talk about some of our stuff. And Derek is one of the cool stuff with 6 months school. So that is how we and we meet. So I would like to share my journeys with my humble career in the beginning and until now that right now I'm doing on the space and also hydrogen. So kind of cool, right? Space hydrogens. But then before I start the space and hydrogen journey, so I've been doing a lot of things before. So starting from my background is basically petroleum engineering. Let me share some of my slides first, so that you guys will, kind of excited a bit. Window. This one. All right. Do you guys see the screen, right? Derek, can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, I'm started with my career, my humble career, back in Western Australia, in Perth. Okay. So I'm not very rich at the time, so I'm rely on my scholarship at the time. Studied in Western Australia, in Perth, as a student of petroleum engineering. So I started my career with just a cleaner at that time. So I'm sure you can connect also here. You can be anybody. You can have any job that you like. But at the same time, you can also learn, and also you can also add value. At that time, I was a bit of computer geeks and also software techie. So what I mean by software techie is I'm not just learning in universities, but also I do some stuff with my computer. So at that time, it's quite famous with multimedia, like Flash. Those software, right? Flash, and then you have like animation and so on. So I was one of them before. So I learned to use the Photoshops. I learned to use the Flash software, and I just create a like a multimedia animation software, something like that. So and then at that time also, we don't have a digital crypto and cryptocurrency like right now, right? Like a blockchain and so on. But at that time, there was a lot of high yield investment where you buy an electronic gold and so on. And PayPal just started at that time. eBay just started at that time. So I was learning and become a student, and also be part of the revolution at that time of all those computer and ITs and coding. Okay, so that is where I started and my career with. Okay, I do a lot of stuff back then in Australia, meaning to say I'm not just learning at university, but I also working as a cleaner and also own a franchise business in Perth at that time. So kind of very rare as well, student that can own franchise over there. But I own my cleaning franchise over there. So what I mean by cleaning franchise, instead of working in one places, but I hiring all my friends and student at the time to work in other cleaner area as well. So I was looking after 5 area at the time, and I was able to hire people and pay them a handsome salary. So what I mean by handsome salary is like $25 per hour. So you can imagine you work like 3 hours or 4 hours a day, so you only have $100 at the time. Okay. All right. Then I come back home in Kuala Lumpur. So I become a full-time oil and gas. All right. So as you all know, that oil and gas are required a lot of traveling. So I do have a lot of travelings uh, back and forth from the rigs to the to hometown and also to the office, right? So I was involving a lot of operation at the time, drilling operation basically. So that is my main oil and gas activities was drilling operations or looking after oil and also gas, either from the explorations and also this development. So I do all around of life cycle of the project. So meaning to say from operations and then developments and in technicalities and also commercial part. So meaning not just on the technical or in terms of operation itself only, but also on the commercial part. So what I mean by commercial part is that you have to deal with the service provider, that you have to look after the costing, and then you have to also choose or select the best services in terms of cost and so in terms of technical point of view for for the operations. So I work overseas at that time in Vietnam, in Perth, in Mumbai, in UAE, Abu Dhabi. Okay, so I have to travel around quite a lot of time. Um and there is where I learn as much as I can. So I try to seize all the opportunities at the time, so that I'll be able to not just get a handsome paycheck, but as well as knowledge and also experience as much as I can. Okay, so I started my oil and gas career when I was in 25. If I'm not mistaken, 25 years old, and currently I'm 37 years old. So you can imagine all of this time around within a year or 2 years, I'll be able to do all of these operation development, technical and commercial uh, operations in terms of the work experience. Okay? So the key takeaway is that you have to learn as much as you can whenever you are in one position. So if you are in student right now, or if you are in working with company or probably freelance or whatever, so you learn as much as you can. Mm. Then I moved into digital tech. So like I said earlier, I was a computer geeks and also software techie. So during my year in oil and gas, so I do a lot of software application running as well. But at that time, it's only software application running. But this time, for the past 3 years, I was looking at the web-based software, digital tech, looking at the machine learning and also the artificial intelligence. So these are the software that I was learning at the time. So meaning to say, after 10 years of oil and gas businesses, then I have to learn again. So I have to learn back the Python and then TensorFlow, because that is the required software for machine learning and also for artificial intelligence. So other than that as well, I need to equip myself with the AI training as well. For example, Andrew Carnegie's training from the Coursera was really helpful for me in order to close the gap between the digital tech from the oil and gas subject matter expert into digital tech. So, and at the time around, I learned a lot about blockchain and crypto and also metaverse. So these are the buzz of the or trend of the year, right? Like blockchain, crypto, metaverse, AI, and machine learning. So within last 5 years, so these are the main, you know, keyword that people are always talk about. So that's why I think this is the best time to get or to deep dive more details or more information on the technology, right? So I was back then having a client with the UAE, Thailand, Japan, Mexico, Brazil, and Indonesia. So my role at that time is to connect with all these potential clients, and then they need to have yeah, of course they're going to be our clients at the time. They are our clients to use our software. So if you look at the pictures, so this is the digital exhibitions in Kuala Lumpur at that time. So we showcase about how we do the data minings using the machine learning, artificial intelligence, and then also do some prediction on the data itself. Okay. All right. So and then recently, this is actually this year. So in June, so I was appointed as the director of Space Start. So actually, it is an honor roles for me because since last year I started learning about space. So all of these space learnings are all by myself. So it's like a self learning. So like I said, when I was in one position, so I will learn as much as I can. So the space industries are like booming now in the I think across the globe, not just in America but also in Europeans and also in Australia and other part of country, especially in India and South Korea and so on. So space industry is consists of like more than a trillions US dollars businesses. So and I'm so glad that I started last year looking at the space technology. So what I mean by space technology that I look after at that time was the 3D printing technology. So the advanced deep tech technology that only requires for a few hours just to come out with the engine with the rocket engine. So it will really amaze me at the time last year when came to know that they'll be able to do the rocket in just a few months. So I think NASA has done a rocket that took like a year or more than a year to complete. But with the new 3D technology, 3D printing technology, you can imagine you can build a whole full suite of rocket in just a couple of months. And then for Plasmos, that I've been appointed as the Space Staff Director, is that we are going to actually uh, we are already printed the the electrical propulsion. So basically, this solid rocket propulsion now we can do it in hybrid manner. So meaning to say that we're gonna have electrical component in the space stack. So and these space stacks are also going to be a reusable one. So if you are a space enthusiast, so you will know this reusable. Why they call it reusable? The term reusable is referring to the not just the full of suite of the rocket, but the stage one rocket. right now, SpaceX have done tremendous job to have this reusable stage one rocket where it can land safely on the rocket depot. So that's why the Plasmos, in order to have a unique proposition in the market, so we're gonna have this space start reusable rocket. You can see from this picture, these are basically the tug that is going to be used on the small in the on the satellite spacecraft, uh, and it can be reusable. So this is how you see the space tug in the future, where it's going to be reusable. Okay, and why we call it space tug? Because this is the last mile delivery of anything payload that you have on the rocket. So you can imagine that in the future there are a lot of satellites are going to be launched from the ground. So, and the technologies are moving forward, and a lot of things are currently uh, in on the Earth you can see from the space. For example, uh, the carbon oxygens, okay, the carbon dioxide, the CO2 emissions. Currently, uh, they can count from the images from space. So these technologies can be useful whenever we launch the satellite on the space. And with all these satellites and also the Internet of Things IoT stuff that you can also manage from on the Earth using the mobile applications or the web applications in the future. So you can imagine now not just mechanical things or technologies in terms of rockets, space, or energies are moving, but also the software as well. So now software need to be run on the Earth to controls everything on the space. Right. So we are living in an exciting moment where we can learn on the Earth, okay, while you do a lot of things on the space. So isn't it great, right, to have contributed to the industry, not just for the space, but also everything's that connected on the Earth and also space. Okay, so these are basically the beginning journey of my space career, So hopefully, uh, with Plasmos, then in the future with new space technologies and whatnot, so I will be able to contribute more on this industry, not just in the state of America, but as well in Malaysia and also Southeast Asia as a whole, and Asia Pacific as well. Okay. All right, so I think this is going to be my last slide. Uh, and right now as well, I'm working on the hydrogen technology. We call it Hamra Hydrogen Fuel One. What is the Hamra Hydrogen Fuel One basically? So basically, we use the electrolysis technology to separate between the oxygen and also hydrogen in the water. Um, by having this mobile, so meaning to say that this technology is actually attached to the vehicle. So currently we are working for both small vehicle, which is car, uh, and also the heavy vehicles such as lorries and truckers and buses and so on. So successfully that we have completed our prototype and also our first commercial hydrogens. Right now we haven't commercialized yet, but it's almost a commercial product. So we be able to reduce 50% of petrol consumption right now by using the hydrogen's fuel. Basically, what we have done is not a hydrogen fuel cell, but the cell itself generated the hydrogens, and these hydrogens are basically produce the gas. Okay, basically this gas hydrogens is being produced in the car, and then it's injected to the engine. Okay, so there's no modification of the car engine or your car itself, but the hydrogens are injected to your engine, and that is where the hydrogen's been used, and petrol consumptions are much lesser. Instead of, for example, uh, you put petrol 200 ringgit, for example, per month. But with hydrogen fuels, one, you'll be able to save, okay? For example, maybe just 50 ringgit a month instead of 100 ringgit a month for your fuel. So I have a lot of pre-order from the Grab car, e-hailing car basically, because they try to maximize their profit. And you can see now the charges of Grab car also quite expensive than normal e-hailing car basically, because of inflation right now, and then also traffic. So traffic also will use more petrol consumption than less traffic area. So that's why I think hydrogen, the one that we are manufactured currently, will have a lot of activities, business activities basically. Like I said before, the e-hailing business. In fact, for personal usage as well, and as well the logistic business. For example, the trucks, the lorries, and also the bus. Okay, so hopefully by next year we'll be able to have commercials ready for in the market. So in terms of technology, it is safe because as I mentioned earlier, so this is electrolysis technology, and then it goes through 2-3 cycles of gas hydrogens apa nama, generated, right? So I hope by my presentation today will give you some ideas on how a lot of things can be contributed, okay, for the not just for Malaysia, but for global innovation. So I would say that space and hydrogen is the futures, and then when Derek mentioned about 6 months school, right? 6 months school, right? About the codings and programming, and you can learn by yourself. It can have a lot of things also in this industry basically. So not just current industry where all the software techie applications are looking at social or blockchain technology only, but these like hydrogens and also space, they really need a system programming uh, in order to have a very successful operation. For example, I would say that hydrogen itself. So we are also planning to have the mobile application for the hydrogen. This is for the user monitoring. Okay, so you can monitor, and then you can know when you're gonna do your maintenance and services for hydrogen, basically. And for the space as well, we incorporate with the AI customization, so that we be able to support client and customize the 3D printing of engine based on customer requirement by using the AI. So these are all are the powers of computing basically, and I'm not talking about quantum computing yet, but still it's still the application like a web based or mobile application or software computer PC application as well is really requirement in this space and also the hydrogen industry. Uh, for the past 5 years as well, it was a booming industry as well for the oil and gas, because a lot of things in the oil and gas are also conventional, and now they are going for the digital transformation. So that's why uh, I was doing my leap of faith between the oil and gas before into the digital tech. So now it become more and more clear for me to pursue my areas of interest in space and hydrogens, because it also need to have all this digital tech industry to help and support these two industry as well. So with that, I think I end my session. So if you guys have any question and so on, just let me know.
Okay, awesome. Saufi, thank you so much for your sharing. I think it's nice we can finally go into Q&As because I have so many questions. So how it's going to work here, guys? Hey, by the way, thank you, Nelson, John, and Joey for joining in. How it's going to work here is I'm going to take over for Q&As. I'm just going to ask a few questions that could be
Sure.
could be of interest to all of us. And you guys feel free to jump in anytime. But if if you have any ideas in your head, you can drop it in the comment section as well, and I will help you ask it. So either case is fine. So I'm going to start with my first question, right? So if you just want to ask, how do you, one guy, single-handedly cover so many fields? It doesn't make sense to me. It's so many: oil and gas, hydrogen technology, AI, web software, and then now you have space. How do you learn so quickly? And what is your, I'm sure, there has to be something, because when people think about learning all these skills, some people may argue that you need a university degree for all of it, few years,
Yeah.
right? But how do you, that there has to be a secret that you've unlocked to be able to learn everything so quickly and all at the same time. What is that thing?
All right. So the first thing that it comes in my mind when you ask this question is basically you need to have I wouldn't say mentor, but you need to have someone that you can rely on in terms of reference. So when I started my journey as an oil and gas practitioner, so I always rely on the senior, okay, the senior. So basically, all of those things you never learn in the school, because like I said, in the school is structured, everything is structured. So but when it comes to the knowledge implementation or working implementation, sometimes it's not in the book, so you have to go through this thing by experience. So with that, I always look after experienced people. So I think online is also experience, right? So if you look at Google's or YouTube, so you can also learn, because there are also some of experienced people are sharing in the knowledge in the web, Google's or YouTube and so on. So that number one, because sometimes you come across people I also don't know about it. So for example, Python and also uh, programming is like TensorFlow, for example, in machine learning and also AI. They are nobody that I was working before knowing about this.
Yeah.
So this is apparently 5 years ago is something new. Then, of course, when I joined the digital tech, so I have I have a bosses, right? But they also doesn't know to teach, right? So what they do is they ask me to go through Coursera, or you learn from Andrew Carnegie. Yeah. Sorry, not Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Ng. Sorry, Andrew Ng is the master of machine learning.
Yes.
Yep. So Andrew Ng has a good videos. So why not? Why not we spend our time to learn? So it's either you want a certificate, or you pay. But sometimes you don't need a certificate. You just need to know, to
Yeah.
understand the knowledge. So you don't have to pay. So it's going to be free. So all of these are free in Coursera. So I do learn from free stuff, basically.
It's good. Okay. So
Yeah.
but how much time do you dedicate to learning it? And how do you even achieve mastery? Right? How do you get the opportunity to learn in the real world? Is it through connections, or is it, do you always go out looking for new projects to work on?
Yeah. So I think this is very, very good question, Derek. I always go for opportunity. I was looking after opportunity, but always at the time you haven't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
But this is something that you guys need to take seriously. The opportunity comes when you are ready. Yeah, when you are ready. So basically, Just look for opportunity, even though you are not ready. But once you are ready, this opportunity will come.
Yeah.
So this is what I've been doing for past couple of years in not just in the new industry, but also in uh, uh, the oil and gas industry as well. But just to emphasize on this digital tech, I was doing software application, just a user of application, right? So I create one articles in LinkedIn about the comparison of the software. Basically, there's no intention at all. My intention is just sharing, just put a content there. So eventually, along the year, so I would say after 10 years, then they are founders and CEOs are looking at this article, and they want me to work with them in order for in order to develops, or in order to enhance, or I can say to add value to the company, right?
Okay.
So it is not overnight work. So it will be a series of articles that you have been done before.
Okay.
Then
Thanks,
come
Safi.
up. Yeah,
I think the very fact that I met you through Vin was also a very good example of how you're putting yourself out there, right? The very fact that both of us reached out to a guy that we've never met
correct.
before and we met through him shows that we're both, always exploring opportunities. And I completely agree with you on the statement
Mhm.
where you say just go out there, seek for opportunities, even when you're not ready. Because when you're ready, they will come for you. Because things
Correct.
take time to marinate, right? You need to just put yourself there first. Maybe in the first 1 year, there's nothing coming in, but it's fine as long as you push yourself and you open up door opportunities for yourself.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Safi. So let me move on to my next question. So from oil and gas to software to AI to hydrogen technology to space, there's a lot of things I can ask you about, right? Too many for today's session, but I think one question I want to ask, and in fact, today I spent a lot of time today reading up about hydrogen technology.
Hmm.
How you convert, how do you go through electrolysis to convert H2O into hydrogen and then use it efficiently, right? I think it was 30+% efficiency, and there's zero emission, which means it's good for the environment as well.
Yep.
I think it's super. I think it's a bit too good to be true. It's so powerful. It's so powerful, and it costs, I think,
It's so powerful.
a few thousand, and that's just hydrogen technology to convert electricity for the car instead of using batteries like standard EVs, right? But in your case, it's different because you are providing a means to convert gas cars into,
Correct.
which is very different. And I think the conversion process is a few thousand ringgit, right, to convert a car into a, is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah.
Hydrogen car. Yes. So I was reading around, and this technology I've seen, in some videos or in some articles, it's been around for the past few years already. So why do you think it hasn't really kicked off globally yet?
Okay. Most of the hydrogen fuel cells that they are working on is actually required some modifications of the engine. The fact that because they wanted to convert the hydrogens into electricity, but the problems with our, I can say, ICE car, ICE meaning internal combustion engine, ICE, okay, compared to the electric vehicle. The problem with the ICE engine is just that it does not very efficient to use the hydrogen fuel cell, because the engine intake is the petrol gas, right?
Mm,
So you have to replace the petrol gas to the other energy, which
mm,
is the gas hydrogen, to
mm,
make it feasible and also workable. So if you look at electrical vehicles, why is it very expensive? It's because of the battery component itself,
mm,
and the way they uh, manufactured the car itself, because it totally doesn't have any engine, because you just use the battery panels,
mm.
and then all these rotating tires and everything are all mechanical. So they don't need an engine basically. Yeah, but over here in Malaysia, based on statistic, it's already about 24 millions of vehicles, 20 million of vehicles. You can imagine all these 20 million to convert to electric vehicle,
Mm,
how much the money that has have to go around.
mm,
You have how much money you have to throw to change all of these engine to battery. It's
correct.
going to be trillions, and nobody can do that. Nobody
Yes.
can replace.
And then plus also the ecosystem. We don't have charging ports and all that. That's not
Yes,
all.
the
In the
the
time it
charging
takes
port.
to charge.
Yeah, the supercharge. The supercharge is also one health of the problem.
Mm,
So that's why we look at the electrolysis where you can generate the gas in the car,
yep.
and you produce the gas, and like you said, it's a zero emission because it goes loop. Uh, it's like automatically generated and looping around and around.
Self-sufficient, it's just running on its own, right?
Yes, it's just sufficient. It's
And
just
the
running.
discharge, that there has to be an output, right? In every equation, there has to be an output. What is the thing released? Is it just water getting released?
It's a water. Basically it's a water,
Is it
but
toxic, this water, or no?
it's a additive water, but it's not toxic.
Then you
It's
can
not.
just pour throw it away.
Yes, you can just put away, and then you just refill it back again.
Very nice. Right.
Yeah.
But this is crazy, man. This is crazy. I mean, so you're doing so many things, and now you're with Plasmos, and you have, and if I'm correct, this hydrogen thing is under Space MY. Is that correct?
Yes, the
So
hydrogen
how
is
do you manage? I mean, these are two very big projects. How do you manage? Do you have a team running and doing things for you, or how does it work?
okay. Like you said, looks like I was only one man show, right? Of course, oil and gas in the oil and gas industry, there's a lot of people working together. Big companies, they hiring a lot of people. So I work not just myself, but a bunch of teams, and also digital tech. But digital tech is more relaxed, not relaxed in terms of working, but the manpower. So I would say just 2-3 people. You are working with only 2-3 people, and the rest are just reporting to the bosses. So, and hydrogens, it become more or less. So I have a team basically for hydrogens, uh, but people who are really understand hydrogens are not many.
Mm, of
It's
course.
really rare to find people that really understand this technology.
Yes.
Yeah, and if there is understand this technology, it's going to be very big hydrogen's electrolyzer. Uh, Meaning to say, it's a lab people, research or lab people, but
Yep.
not commercial, not
Correct.
commercial people.
Mm,
Yeah, so I'm working with the team basically. So the teams are doing all the R&D part.
mhm.
So normally I comes yeah, because right now I'm more on the startup scaling up
Mhm.
uh, business. So meaning I partners with investors and potential
So
investors.
when are you gonna start selling?
We're gonna start selling soon, basically.
Very soon.
This is July, right? So most probably in the September,
Is it mostly
because
B2B sales or B2C?
right now is consumer B2C consumer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right now it's consumer
So you,
because
you could potentially sell to each of us here.
can potentially sell to each of
Interesting.
everyone here.
What's your distribution channels? Do we buy online and just follow a tutorial and attach it ourselves?
Yes. So right now,
Oh,
like I said just now, right? The coding businesses is booming because it's not just for the application software for the PC, for the laptop, for mobiles, but also for the physical product as well.
mm,
Because you can see people are moving forward to this system. I mean, this that I can say this behavior of purchasing, right? Like apples, like you buy apple through website, you buy
okay.
apple, yeah. So I'm gonna do the same with my hydrogens. So you buy hydrogen from your website, then we'll put the slot in when you will install the products, and then poof, you can just use.
Wait, but how,
Yeah.
how you refuel? Do you still refuel your standard petrol, but just, the
Yes,
consumption is lower? That's
you
it?
you refill your standard petrol because petrol still required in your petrol tank, and then for few months, you just refill back the
Oh,
water.
this is very interesting. Do you have any competitors doing this?
There is a competitors, but they are doing much more sophisticated. What I say sophisticated, it's not that we are not sophisticated, but they are doing like a race car.
Right. Oh, right, right. For
Race
higher,
car.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I just recently listened to their video. Just past few days, basic past few days, they announced they are the first hydrogen car in Malaysia.
Mm.
You can Google and you will find this.
First
Uh,
hydrogen car in Malaysia. Let me Google it.
yeah, you can find this. Is basically Abanggan. Yes, Abanggan, the one that reviewed this car. You know Abanggan, right? Pandulaju, pandulaju.com.my.
Okay.
So he reviewed this car, but at the during the session, the I think the CEO of the company already mentioned that it cannot be run on the road right now.
Mm, I see.
So even though we have a competitor, but there's none yet can be run
So how
on the
did
road.
you fund your research for the past, few years? Did you pocket it yourself or did you have investors?
Okay, basically, I'm partner with the team of hydrogen. So
Mhm.
basically, the R&D is self-funded.
Wow.
So because the cost is not very high. I mean, like I mentioned, it's just a few thousand of cost. So if we fail, then we gonna build another one. So
Mm,
another few thousand, yeah. Then another few thousand. So until we get perfectly done. So
right.
right now is the time to complete our R&D. It's already completed. It's just that there are some some not we can failure, but improvisation that we require
Okay. Do let
to.
us know when you've launched it. Would love to, take a look at your
Sure.
prototype or just do anything to support you, right? So let me
Yeah.
move on to my next question. So this is more for the students. So it's very inspiring to see you doing all of these different things. What would you tell a student right now? Would you say focus on software and be very, very good at software? Or would you say be like you, explore everything they can find? What should they do?
Okay. It's a very tough question, Derek,
Of course.
because eventually I will ask myself what I'm going to do at the end of the day, right? So because you only have 24 hours of time, and these 24 hours of time, what are you going to do the best? Uh, like I said before, in the beginning, I learn as much as I can. But right now, I'm in the position not stop to learn, but also learn as much as you can, as I can, to be able uh, get to the direction of your goal. So basically, what is your direction of goal? So
Got it.
yeah. So for example, myself, I put myself in uh, space industry and also the new energy business, which is the hydrogen. So I need to learn a lot of things before I need to reach into that destination.
Mm.
So I think that's why for the past 6 months, like what Derek did, right, leading a lot of hydrogens. So if you ask me about hydrogens, I can answer you directly because I've been doing before. And also the space business. Space business is very very big business. You're talking about engine, but the engine stuff, it has a lot of science there. So
Okay.
in fact, to load a mission or payload mission to the space satellite, it has a lot of contribution, not just for one particular company, but also the other company, the
Okay.
other parts of the other parts of the phase or development as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things to learn.
Of course,
So
it's
yeah,
huge. It's a
it's
massive
huge.
industry. You cannot cover all of it. You have to
Yes,
choose a
you,
niche.
you cannot cover all at one time,
Yeah,
but you can start from,
start from one. That's
yes, you
correct.
can
Be
start
good
from
in
one.
one first, right? Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Thanks for the very good advice. So a bit more of a personal question. Do you have a family, like a wife or
yeah,
kids?
yeah. I have a
How do you
family.
manage your time?
Yes, so time, like I said, is 24 hours.
Yes,
So doing business also is 24 hours, right? But the best business is you have to delegate.
have to delegate.
So yeah, the best business is you have to delegate. So like I said, hydrogen, I've been delegating this project to the team.
Mhm.
So I don't have, I mean, big decision to make for them.
Got
They
it.
have the big decision to make for them.
Got it.
Yep. And then the times, of course, with the families and so on. You have to put in position that what is your goal. So sometimes you have to also fight with your family in order to get your goal. But some other time you have to be with your family
Of course.
to be part of the goal as well. So
Yes.
you have to balance the way you have to balance. This is upon yourself because you know yourself, you know your family, so you try to manage properly. But for me, for the past 6 months, it's really I would say for past 1 year, it's really tough for me because because it's a new industry
Mhm.
and yeah, so things are not like before.
Mm.
So things also are not like before as well. So I treat that also not like before. So meaning to say, people understand. I mean, your family also understand where is your position. So you have to just discuss with them what you have to do and what times
Very
you
nice.
require need to do and so on. Yeah, because sometimes you have to burn your midnight oil as well.
Okay.
Uh,
So
so
what
you
would you say
yeah,
is
yeah.
your goal, your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is, um, of course, not in just in the business, but to contribute to the society as well. So I think once we have successful missions, our rockets and space can be reusable and so on, then I wanted to contribute back to society, uh, to build more people like me. So that we so that I can have a good legacy
Very nice.
for the future. Yeah.
You're like a Malaysian Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is too big. Yeah, but I hope so. I can build something small but high impact to
do
the
you
society. Yeah.
do you think software is going to play a role in your fields? And how
Yes,
big of a role?
yes. Overall, software is really a booster to 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 a simple product.
Mm,
Yeah, because software is not simple. It's complex basically,
of
but
course.
it can simplify the product. It can simplify people's humans interactions and human consumption and so on.
Okay.
So I think it's really impacting a lot basically.
Okay. That's great.
So that's why
That's
you
good.
see a lot of people like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates that are still relevant until now. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Thanks for sharing. Okay, one last question for you before we wrap up is any final advice? If there was one thing that you want to maybe go back in time and give yourself a baby, not baby selfie, but a 25 years old selfie, or if you could give anyone, anyone young, still at the very beginning of their careers, one advice, just one, what would that be?
All right. So one advice that I would give to myself or young people uh, is that, of course, you want to be fame, you want to be wealthy, and so on, right? But you have to be patient. Yeah, that will be my advice. You have to be patient. Patient meaning you have to work a lot, learn a lot, and you wait, and you will get the opportunity. Yeah. So that will
Basically, be patient, don't give up easily,
yes,
and put yourself out there. To summarize today's session, be patient, don't give up easily, put yourself out there, constantly be learning, always be trying new stuff, always be
Correct.
learning and managing your time with your family well, and then opportunities will come and things will work out better, right? That's in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Okay, thank you. Let me take a group picture together first
Sure.
with these guys, and then maybe if you guys have any questions you can ask, but let's do it now. Let's do one. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, awesome. So done my picture. Thank you so much, Saufi, for today's session. I really
Thank
appreciate it
you,
for your
Derek.
time, and thanks Nelson, Jawi, and John as well. Hope you guys learned something. Do you guys have any questions? Nelson,
Yep.
Jawi, go
Feel
ahead.
free to talk. No problem. You're like
Hey,
a
thanks,
brother.
Derek and Mr. Saufi, right? Yeah, just a curious question. Just now you did mention like you're building 3D printing for the rocket, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
did see like they have like competition building these 3D houses for the Mars, right? So do you plan like have a 3D printing houses or even any like appliances out there in future? Right? It's a lower cost to have a house out there, so you get a 3D printed house, something, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, uh, since last year, so we have in talk with one company in the state in the state of America. So they are building the futures, the house of futures, basically. But it's not 3D printing. But 3D printing is one way to reduce cost of housing. But the interesting part is that they build the house with just less than a week.
Oh,
Yes, with then less a week, and they built for the mass basically.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they built for the mass. So, but right now their development are complete. I think already almost completed. So it is very near to the Starship launch area. So you know Starship SpaceX, right?
Yep.
So in Texas, in Long Beach, Texas. So they are building these houses,
Mm-hmm.
and they are tested. They will test this development,
Mm-hmm.
this town. They call it sustainable cities.
Okay.
So these sustainable cities are only rely on solar energy, and everything's like you said, printed, right? So, but
Mm-hmm.
this is everything's included, like cabinet, all the electrical appliances, all the showers, and all these everything's
In
completed in the house.
okay.
Yeah, so and then they're built for fragile environment. So I mean, if there is an earthquake or if there is anything happen like typhoon or whatever, it still stand there.
Oh,
The
they're gonna
house
test
still,
out the structure. How solid is it?
yes, they're gonna
Okay.
test
Wow,
out the solid.
cool.
So if they are successful, they're gonna bring this house when Elon's completed successfully landed into Mars. Yeah,
Okay.
Wow.
sounds cool,
Wow,
right?
yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Imagine they can build it in Malaysia.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's
The
great.
cost, but of course, the cost over there is quite expensive. It's $100 per feet over there in the
$100 per feet.
US. But I think in Malaysia can be reduced because our carpentries and so on is much lesser cost than in the state. Yeah.
Oh, hopefully can see that future coming soon, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
great.
Hopefully,
Thanks.
if I got enough fund, I bring them to Malaysia.
Sure.
That's
Finger
smart.
crossed. Finger crossed. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Saufi, for answering the question. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Javi. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, Nelson, anything?
Yes, I do have a questions. Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Karim. I thought it was really interesting with the whole hydrogen fuel cell things. So I have one questions for you. Basically, do you foresee that we are going to replace the fossil fuels or limited assets in the future with all this green asset, like for example, like your hydrogen fuel cells or other renewable energy? Because right now this is one of the most trendy things that we talk about, right? Because of the whole climate crisis and all things. Yeah. So I wanted to see what is your opinions on that, especially in Malaysia. Yeah.
Okay, I think if you look at the landscape now, a lot of electrical vehicle cars coming in to Malaysia. It's starting now. I think for the past few years, it's a bit slow, but I think it's picking up now. I'm sure. Proton or Geely will come back with a lot of electric vehicle car sales in the future. The fossil fuel is still here. Will still remain until the end of life. I hope so. But the what worry us is the climate change. Yeah. So the flood incident that you've seen in the beginning of the year, right? Last year. So it's really, I think, touched also my heart as well, because this climate change is real. So meaning to say that a lot of things take for granted. Forestry also being cut and so on, right? So I think the green energy will replace a little bit by bit, but it's not entirely. Like I said, 25 million car. How you can going to replace this 25 million car and lorries and also vehicle with electrical, but it can be reduced by having like this green energy, for example, hydrogen. Soon as well, we're gonna have a hydrogen station as well. There's one hydrogen station has been launched in Sarawak by Petroleum Sarawak. So Petroleum Sarawak also already has hydrogen contract, and then they already implemented. They supplied it to the hydrogen station. So meaning to say, in one station in the future, you will have petrol, you have a hydrogen, and you have a EV car, EV charger. But the hydrogen technology that we are doing is not going to be this station. So you don't need to go station to get the hydrogen, because it generated itself in your car. For example, this phone, the machine. So you just install in the car, and this will produce the hydrogen. So that is what we are looking after. So
Wow.
I hope by next year we'll be able to get more than
Looking forward to it, man.
1,000. Yeah, more than 1,000 car
That's
to be
very
able to install. Yeah.
Count my car in as one of those 1,000 cars.
Yeah, definitely
yes.
want to save up some petrol, right?
Yes.
All right. Cool. John, do you have any questions?
Sorry, no question here.
All right, awesome, no problem. Okay, guys, then I guess we will wrap up very soon. So, for those of you over here and for people watching in the future, there's this very famous saying by a very famous somebody I don't remember, but it says, show me your 5 best friends, and I'll tell you how your future is going to look like. So, this sessions is just an initiative by Sigma School to bring people, like-minded people, or people who has done it in the past, to show you guys the different people and try to open up your minds to see the possibilities and the potentials that you guys can have as well moving forward, right? So I hope this session helped you guys in some way or some form of another to put you guys in an environment where there are people who's constantly pushing yourself to explore boundaries and break your own boundaries and become better versions of yourself, right? I hope today's session helped, and thank you for joining in, and thank you again, Saufi. Really appreciate your time, for coming in. It's very inspiring what you're doing. I would love to work with you in the near future. Let's keep in touch.
All right. Thank
All
you,
right.
Derek.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mr.
Bye.
Safi.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
bye,
Bye.
guys.
Okay, bye.